Coming up on this episode of Linux User Space, we're going to feed on some backs. We're going to check in with our Mozilla correspondent. Where will he be this week? And we're going to find out what happens when Godzilla meets a fire engine. Stick around. Hello and welcome to the Linux User Space. I'm Joe.
I'm Leo.
And I'm Dan.
Leo, did you get your Mac?
I got a machine. I didn't get a Mac. Okay.
It's an M1, right? No.
No.
Leo.
It's Vince's fault. It's Vince's fault. He has convinced me to hold off.
Vince. Okay. I tried to convince you. I see how much I...
No, you're right. No, you're absolutely right. But you know what you didn't tell me? You didn't tell me, hey, Leo, you know what's coming out with the second generation of these M1 Macs or whatever? MagSafe.
Oh,
you know what?
well.
You know one of my favorite things about that hardware? MagSafe.
MagSafe.
It's MagSafe.
It's the best.
It is pretty sweet.
And you know what they're gonna do? They're gonna sell you $100 basically little attachment to the USB-C charging port, and that's what's gonna do the MagSafe. It's gonna be silly like that.
I'll buy it.
But I don't care. It's MagSafe. It's gonna snap, and I'm gonna love it. So I'm gonna wait. But I did buy new hardware anyway. My hardware finger was ready. I couldn't help it. So instead, I bought a Lenovo, what is this? A M715Q with an AMD Ryzen 2400 GE. So the low energy version of the 2400.
And the Q stands for?
Quick. I have no idea. No
Quality? Because it's so tiny.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Form factor. So those of you on the video, it literally is about that big. I love it. This thing is so fantastic. It is probably about almost 3 times as performant as my laptop.
Wow.
That is huge.
So it'll almost keep up with my phone now. That's cool. Great. Congratulations.
And now my laptop can be a laptop again.
Yeah.
I mean, since this whole, started, I've been, my laptop has lived where this little Lenovo thing is now. And, getting up and moving around or whatever, I would forget to take it. And then I'm like, I don't want to go all the way back in there and get it. So I'll just mosey to my desktop and do stuff. So now I have a actual recording kind of studio setup. I have a laptop to take around with me if I need to do some mobile editing, because that's what you do, right? And then my desktop. And I think I am nerded out right now. I think I'm definitely full on nerd right now.
Well, I don't think you can ever be done with that, but
No.
yeah, that sounds good.
No, because I think I'll buy the Apple stuff and then I'll be like extra nerd. So it'll just it goes into the negative eventually.
But you're in a niche though. You're in a niche though. You're like in miniature computer nerd, right? Like Mac Mini nerd or like Lenovo Tiny nerd. Like it's a niche within a like parallels like many niches.
It is.
You're like very Lenovo centric though.
Right.
Okay. Here's the thing though. I have this laptop and it has a charger. Do you know how to power up these tinies? With the same charger.
Right?
It's a thing.
There were other solutions that cost just about the same, but the fact that I have this interchangeability now is fantastic. If one thing blows up,
is it the little yellow rectangle one?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I already have like 3 of those, and then I got this, and now I have 4 of those. So it's nice to be able to just have redundant stuff, and that checked that box and really made me happy.
Makes sense.
Will say, I did learn HDMI is horrible.
It's terrible. It's terrible. Stop using it. Stop putting it on devices. Stop with the HDMI.
It's not made for computers. It's made for consumer devices.
It belongs on TVs at this point.
Well,
it's not. It's like one of the only video plugs we have that doesn't latch in. It doesn't latch in. It sits and it's long and it's too thin so it can break, and it's terrible. It's
and then
old.
If you try
Get rid of
to
it.
miniaturize it, you get those like mini. They're terrible too.
Yeah, it's all bad. Get rid of HDMI. Let's be done with it. It's limited in bandwidth. Like you can't do a whole lot with it.
Well, now you got to buy the 1.4, HDMI 1.4, and then the bandwidth is better, or something like that.
Or just buy a DisplayPort.
Yeah, DisplayPort maybe. Yeah.
So for $10, so I started on the Lenovo Tiny. I had a HDMI, and coming from my laptop, which was on DVI, because that's what the what do you call that thing? The dock supported, and I had that cable, and this monitor had that, and I was just like, whatever, it's digital, it's fine. So it looked
That's
great.
even better.
And then I moved over to the Tiny, and now I had an HDMI cable. There's no DVI, so I couldn't do that. So I was like, I got a HDMI cable handy. That's fine. I didn't have any extra DisplayPort cables. Otherwise, I'd have done that. So HDMI, I plugged it in, and I start installing, and I'm looking around, and I'm looking at terminal output, and the text is blurry. And I'm like, that's weird. And it's not just all the text. It's some of the text. It's the more red that's in the text or small icons, the blurrier it is. And I'm like, what is this? HDMI, it's digital. How is it wrong? How?
Right.
Like a pixel is a pixel. You color that pixel that color, and that's it. That's the end of the story, right?
Nope.
No. Somehow, HDMI was blurring things up all over the place. I was getting, this is not the fastest monitor in the world, so you get a little bit of that ghosty feel or whatever. But it was crazy. It was way more than I had ever seen on any monitor in my entire life. And so I broke down and I bought a $10 DisplayPort cable. It came in, plugged it in immediately. Didn't have to touch anything.
Crisp.
Didn't have to touch anything.
Amazing.
Everything is crisp. There's a lot less ghosting. Reds look like red. They're not leaking all over the place. Oh man. So I've learned a lot in these past couple of days. But my love for AMD and Ryzen has only blossomed these past couple of days. So some good in that.
Oh, and that one has a Ryzen in it, huh?
Yeah, the Ryzen 2400
I forgot
GE.
about
so
that.
A low-powered 2400. So it's not the newest shiny. I was looking at the 3400 GE, but I think it was like an extra 150. And I was like, I'll save $1. I don't need that much power.
Mm-hmm. It's a great little machine. I think you can even daisy chain like the video outputs on some of them. I was looking at one display setup, and he had like 8 4K monitors running based like after he was able to. I don't know what he was doing with them. Anyways, they're pretty powerful little boxes. So
yeah, definitely.
I've told you before, I've got a stack of the Intel ones that I've cycled through at the office, and they're robust. They're solid. They've lasted for a long time.
I love them. I feel like I need to go and buy a heatsink fan combo thing, just in case. Just in case, because if anything's gonna break, it's gonna be the moving parts, and that's the only moving part that I saw. So $20, replace that, and you just be ready that way.
Right.
Because you know what's gonna happen is like the fan is gonna fall off its hinge or off its bearing right before we start recording. Yeah. So I'm like, so what will I say, Joe? I will say, hey, give me 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Give me 10 minutes so I can not go work on the problem I'm experiencing.
Yeah, of course.
It was just for me to go outside and beat my head against the brick wall. It's fine.
That makes sense.
Did I get my hair back? Yeah. As anybody who's watching video can tell, my
that big red spot in the middle of your head.
My video has decided to glitch and green screen and do whatever it wants. Never been a problem before, ever.
Yep.
Who knows?
Today. So we start a little late trying to figure out whatever this is, and oh my gosh, I don't know. I still don't know. We tried everything.
Yeah.
We tried absolutely everything.
Did all the updates. No. Rebooted.
You did the unplug.
Unplugged.
Back in.
I've repowered everything that can be repowered.
I mean, how many Ys did you put in that Pac-Man command?
Well,
I was like 8.
Yeah. It's like 8 Ys. I really
you
wanted some
refreshed
updates.
Your mirrors?
I did everything. I've done all the things.
I'm not sure.
So you video folks, you get to enjoy the green flicker.
Yep. I was this close to rebooting into Windows, guys, just because I know it works fine. I didn't do it, though. I didn't do it.
I threatened him with
so glad.
I didn't do it.
We're going to name the show Windows User Space if he did that. But looks like we dodged a bullet there, folks.
Perhaps. Anyways, I still feel like this episode will contain a hashtag with a name of somebody to blame.
Every time.
All right. So, guys, we're going to talk about what other people are talking about, or at least what they want to talk to us about. We've got to feed on the backs of some
So
emails.
is it smoking a backstrap? Or
Smoking a
what
backstrap. Yeah, this is smoking backs.
Smoking backs.
Smoking
Okay,
backs. Please send us your emails to smokingbacks@fattyback.com.
.org.
.org.
Cherrywood only. Cherrywood and mesquite.
Wow.
To
Cherrywood
smoke
and
this stuff.
mesquite.
That's
Yes, cherrywood only.
That's all.
Smells and tastes wonderful. Thank you for your support. Yeah, we got some emails back. So I guess we'll tackle these one by one, but we'll read through them and then let's see if we got anything to say.
First one's about Firefox. I'm gonna leave. I'm out.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's see. Let's see if Matthias agrees with our takes. Starts off by saying, great podcast. I started to listen recently. I switched last week after many, many years on Firefox to Vivaldi. I usually try to avoid proprietary software where I can and often compromise on the user experience. I have been using Firefox as my main browser over at least 8 years. Before that, I was heavily invested in Opera. What drove me now to Vivaldi were 2 reasons.
All right,
One.
Convince me.
Let's get it.
Yeah.
1.
Let's do it.
Firefox in 2021, this is a bold statement, is just not enough.
Oh, that hurts me.
It's probably true. It feels like a base product. The experience would have been fine 5 to 10 years ago, but in 2021, I expect a bit of development of the user experience. Vivaldi really tries to deliver here. Everything feels more modern, built in, tabbing, good ad blocking, image loading can be turned off, etc. I still miss the old Opera Turbo function. Turbo. Remember when Turbo was a thing of things?
You're talking about the 100 megahertz to 133 megahertz, right?
Hey, you got a turbo, bud. Hit that button.
Oh,
Hit that
I'm sweating
button.
now. Hold on. What is?
Turn the turbo off.
What's the Opera Turbo button? What is this?
We got to look. We got to find out. Dan, what's the
fire up the?
I have to go look.
Fire up the Wayback Machine.
Let's
and
fire it
I'll-
up. Let's look for the turbo
I'll search
button.
for that while you're
How to
continuing.
enable.
If you were a fan of the turbo button in Vivaldi, please email us and tell us about it.
Yeah, I want to know
Yeah.
what this is. It sounds fun, but I mean, then again, anything turbo is cool.
It is. What was that? What was the dial-up service that had the Net Zero? Remember? And then you could get like the Net Zero Turbo, and you click the little turbo thing, and you went from like 56K to 58K. I don't know. It was.
Oh, it's compression.
Oh.
It says this unencrypted. Well, okay, this is just an example, and it not necessarily unencrypted, but it says it's compressed with Opera Turbo. You should not enter. Okay, well, that's about HTTP. But yeah, so it looks like it does compression, and so that speeds up loading times.
Well, that's a bad thing. I mean,
Okay,
that's
tell
a
me
good
if
thing.
I'm Matthias. Tell me if I'm wrong about that, but that sounds cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does sound cool.
We don't need the turbo function now because we all have 500K internet connections.
Yeah,
I mean, 500 meg.
fiber to the brain. That's how it goes down.
Yeah,
Not
pretty much.
500K. All right. His second point, Firefox for me is slower than, for example, Vivaldi. You can add many of the above functionality to Firefox using extensions, but then Firefox actually starts to feel as sluggish as Chrome-based browsers.
Ooh, shots fired.
With ad blocker, leech block, and some dictionary extensions loaded, Firefox needs a couple of seconds for me to start working. Also, God knows what code is in those extensions, and amen to that, brother.
Yeah, that. Oh man, that is so true.
Yeah, he ends his message to us by saying, "I wish Mozilla would start to focus again on the browser and try to deliver on the user experience. Maybe they should also make their engine more adaptable to other browsers and apps. I don't know the implications or the complications regarding that. None of us do, Matthias. That's why we're here, and those people are doing the smart things that they do. So it's fine. You're in good company. But I would love to see the Firefox engine as a real competitor to Chromium. Wouldn't we all? I hope to switch back to Firefox soon. It doesn't sound like you're gonna, bud. But right now, I explore what else is gonna explore what else is on the market. So much for that. Thanks for the podcast and great content. Cheers, Matthias. So, what do you guys think about Matthias's points there? Valid?
Thanks for the email.
Yes, thank you, Matthias.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'll agree. Like, Vivaldi's very modern looking.
You're biased. You're a Vivaldi user, though.
I am. Oh, but I like Firefox too. I mean, so you have some great features like container tabs and some security things and stuff built in, but Vivaldi, it's got the good looks to it and the tab features, and it's got the built-in ad blocking. I don't know. He's probably not wrong. It sounds really good.
Yeah, before the show, we were talking about this, and I think I said, what did I say? Something to the effect of, I'm going to have to concede today.
Yeah.
True. It's true. It's true. It's true. It's true. I mean, tabs on the side. It's got a note-taking app. It's got, like, your bookmarks are in a sane situation. I mean, Vivaldi is a good browser. It is a good browser, and they focus on the user experience, and you know what? It doesn't matter what your privacy stance is. It doesn't matter all these other fringe things that some people care about. If the user experience is not top notch, people are going to migrate to other stuff. And I keep hearing Vivaldi come up every time, and I can see why. They have all the features that used to be added to browsers with extensions just built in.
Yeah.
It's built right in.
Yeah, I think that's it. You don't have to load a whole bunch of extensions. That just makes the experience that much better. And like you said, those extensions, you don't know where they come from. Having the built-in one comes from a trusted source.
From the store. They come from the store, guys. They come from the extension stores.
Yeah.
And we all know those
There's a bouncer in front of that store, and it's like, excuse me, sir, let me...
they're heavily regulated. There's no possibility that anything malicious could get through. Gosh,
you can't even say that about the Play Store.
Yeah. This is worse than the Play Store, though.
Yeah, it's a bit more Wild West than the Play Store.
Yeah, I can't disagree at all.
I'll also say, like, if you came from Opera, like Vivaldi seems like the natural choice to migrate to.
For a while, I thought they were the same thing.
Yeah, me too.
Well, because some of the Opera developers are now at Vivaldi.
Yes.
So
wait, seriously?
It's like a fork, right?
Seriously?
Isn't it like a fork?
I don't know.
Or a new
Yeah,
project, but yeah, they carried on their desires.
Yeah, like somewhere I saw this graphic that had like all the browsers and where they were forked, and wow, did that look like spaghetti mess. But I think if you traced it back far enough, yeah, I think Vivaldi was.
Well, if you trace
Opera.
all of us back far enough, Dan, we're all
it
a
did
fork.
show the roots. I gotta find that again. That was
Yeah.
really good.
Yeah.
We're all mosaic at heart.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, I gotta agree. Vivaldi's got a lot of those features. I just tend to not use a lot of those features, which is I think why Firefox tends to still be a pretty good fit for me. But I will say Brave is making inroads, and for the reason that I kind of discounted before. I care about those things. I care about privacy and security and what kind of information I'm leaking and what my user agent looks like to websites, things like that. I care about that. But, I mean, Dan and I were talking earlier. I think we just settled on the vast majority of people don't, right?
Yeah, they don't.
It's just not something that comes up in conversation. When's the last time you ever talked about the security of your browser with somebody that wasn't in tech in general, right?
Today.
I mean, their eyes glazed over when you said the word browser.
Today.
Yeah, no,
I had the
maybe
conversation today.
Did you really?
I did.
You did not.
I
No.
did.
And
I promise you.
Did you end up sounding like someone that wears a tinfoil hat?
No, I didn't.
Are you okay?
Well, and I'll tell you, it was a problem that somebody ran into. So I was trying to fix it, and I couldn't fix it because it was a problem with Chrome. And you know what? I fired it up in Edge, and it worked perfect first time. I thought, at first I thought it was we use like a secure docs thing. So if you got to download payroll, and then it's got to securely transmit it to the printer, all that good stuff. So it just decided to stop. They did one batch of checks. They went to do the next batch, and it was like, no, I'm not working. I'm like, did something update? Was there an update to no, nothing. So I uninstalled, reinstalled, did all these things, and I'm like, it's still not working. I go, well, I tell you what, it's probably not going to work, but let's fire it up in Edge just to make sure, because it's already installed on here. First try, boom, print, done, batch, finished. So I was telling him, I go, well, the reason that conversation came up though was, I go, you know what? These browsers are being updated constantly. There's so many things, and every time they fix 10 things, I'm sure they mistakenly break 5 others. So this could be a certificate thing. This could be a, like, who knows? SSL, like it could be like who knows what it is. It doesn't work, and there was nothing to do about it.
Working.
So we moved on to the other thing. But yes. That was I just wanted to trump your conversation. No, we've never had those conversations with anybody. And they they glaze over after a few minutes anyways. So
of course, right? Yeah, just please just take the mouse and do it for me. I don't want to. Yeah. So my wife is kind of in that situation too. She'll go onto websites that have a lot of interactive content or whatever, and then I'll hear, because our monitors are opposite each other, so we can't see whatever. Anyway, and I'll hear her like groan, and I'm like, "What's wrong?" And she tells me, and it's something with the browser, and I'm like, "Are you still using Chrome?" And she's like, "Yes." So, and I'm like, "Just get on Brave. Just get on Brave or Vivaldi or Firefox, or for the love of God, just get off of Chrome, because that is all of your problem." And she'll reluctantly pop that browser open, and all her problems magically disappear.
Yeah,
So,
isn't that amazing?
That is real. That is a real thing.
Yeah. I'll tell you though, you know why people like what you're saying? So for us, right, we break stuff to play with it all the time. Somebody who has learned how to use Chrome, or even my dad, if I told him Internet Explorer was now Edge, he might cry. Like he's learned Internet Explorer so well that he's got his little mode. And to get him to go to Vivaldi or Brave would be it'd be like throwing a Mac in front of him, and he's been using Windows forever, and he would just be irritated the whole time. He's 70 plus years old. He doesn't care. He just wants his email, and he wants to.
You're right.
Just do these little things. So wants to go on eBay and buy car parts. Like, that's it. He doesn't want to do anything else. So that's why your wife's not. My wife's not going to switch. Like she's.
I think she's on the verge. She's on the verge, and I think it's just because Chrome has made her so mad.
Yeah.
It's probably less work to move to a different browser.
Well, sticking with our Firefox theme, this Firefox really struck a nerve, so it's good. We got some feedback.
I love this.
Yeah,
it is
good.
Yeah.
All right, our next email from Steven says, "Hey guys, I was listening to the last episode and was surprised that none of you had the same troubles as me with Firefox. My preferred distro is Fedora, and the error may originate there. Perhaps.
It does.
But sites handling media such as Netflix never work properly for me in Firefox, even after enabling DRM and the proprietary codecs. A second issue I have is relating to Google services, specifically anything that handles uploads, such as Google Drive and Google Photos. Firefox consistently locks up for me when trying to upload multiple large files, and eventually I have to crawl back to Chromium-based browsers. These are both real deal breakers for a daily driver. Hope this helps shed some light. Love the show, Steven. Dan, also I want to thank you for however you put these emails in that I have to scroll 9,000 lines to the right to read a paragraph that is in one line in Cody. Thank you so much.
Wait a minute. Now, I asked you last week.
I just realized.
Formatted okay? Can you see that just fine?
Well, they look fine.
Great, guys.
They look fine until you realize half the 9/10 of the email is not on the page, and I've got to drag a little box across the bottom to read one line.
You just look at it in edit mode. Edit mode is your friend. Try that, Joe.
As I'm trying to keep up, if I move it too fast, I get ahead. All right. So Steven's got a problem. Leo, our resident Firefox guru.
Fix.
What is it?
Okay, so back in October, I wrote a blog post about this, and it was so frustrating because I was in the same exact predicament. Not the Google Drive one, the Firefox and H.264 and Netflix and all that. Mm-hmm. So the answer is that unless you install RPM Fusion, you can't get the right things. So basically, long story short, you need RPM Fusion, and you need to go install either FFmpeg if you think you might use it, or at least FFmpeg-libs, and that will pull in all of the H.264 and X264 and blah, blah, blah stuff that you need to make internet stuff work right.
So
So we'll
this
have a
is a
link in the show
step
notes.
beyond
Yeah.
enabling DRM in the codec and just getting the
yeah,
regular
no.
codecs. This
absolutely.
is, and we went through the whole Fedora RPM fusion, but I just want to make that
Yeah.
distinction because he said he'd put some effort into it, but yeah, looks like there's more to it.
Yeah, I don't know how well documented besides Leo's blog this
Dan,
is.
It isn't. And that's the thing.
Well,
Like, okay,
there
so
you go.
OpenSUSE is like, here, you want internet videos? Do this.
Hmm.
Fedora, not so much. It does show up, but I swear, when I wrote this post, I was in a huge pool of frustration because it's like, why is this not everywhere? Do
Mhm.
people on Fedora not watch Netflix? How did they get there?
Sure
all
they
had to
do.
this.
They all do it on Chrome. That's why.
Actually, that is the
Maybe.
I mean,
Well, I will say RPM Fusion does have some of this, I think, but it's like a couple of pages deep. It's not like right there in your face,
Right.
I guess. So
Right.
it's easy to miss, I think.
so someone I think that is seasoned on Ubuntu that expects this to work, they hop
Yeah.
on Fedora, and then the first thing that you got to do so that you can watch some Netflix while you're tinkering with the rest of your system is go figure out how to install RPM Fusion, and then figure out that you have to install FFmpeg libs. Like the one thing that I had to do is I just nuked a Fedora install because all I used it for was a testbed to figure this out, and then I reinstalled everything so that I could have just exactly what I need instead of a bunch of other dangling libraries that may never get used.
Yep.
Anyway, long story short, that's how you fix it. On the Chrome thing, the drive thing, yeah, I know. I just wait. I drag it in there and I just let it do its thing, and I wait. And you know why? Because Google doesn't care about your Firefox,
They don't.
and so their website
No,
works
they
with
no.
Chromium.
Yes. Works great with Chrome.
Yeah.
Works great with Edge.
Yeah. So concession number 2, I concede.
Yeah.
Drive kind of sucks in Firefox.
Wow,
but-
that's 2 for 2 on that.
yeah, no.
I'll say going back to the DRM stuff, like we talked about this, like must have been in a pre-show or someplace. Firefox does DRM really well.
Actually, yeah.
Just not on Fedora.
Well, I mean,
Well, no, it handles the DRM part really well.
yeah,
It
but
just
it, but
doesn't handle the libraries
Yeah.
to play the videos.
I gotcha.
exactly. Yeah, and
Gotcha.
no matter how much you click yes on the hey, we need to install Wildvine, or hey, we need to
Yeah,
install whatever. Forget
Mm,
it.
yeah,
So
no.
yeah, click on the link. That's how you fix it.
Thank you, Stephen. We appreciate
Yeah.
it.
Thank
And,
you.
And hey, by the way, with the Fedora, for the Firefox thing, we were asking kind of the rhetorical question, like, well, why are people leaving? Well, this is why. This is why they're leaving.
No,
Because
it wasn't rhetorical. I wanted to know.
no, I'm saying, but we were asking it. I think we have
Yeah.
a grasp of why. There's a reason that Captain Firefox here, Leo, is using Brave or Vivaldi at times.
Yeah, he's got 2 concessions so
Right,
far.
right.
so.
There's reasons. We just want to see if yours line up with ours. So yeah, awesome. Thank you for the feedback.
It's great feedback.
All right, Firefox email number 3 says, greetings. I'm new to your show. A whole 2 episodes under my belt. Well, thank you very much, Johnny Knoll.
Yeah, welcome aboard.
During your latest episode, you asked why someone would leave Firefox. I've used
There it is.
Firefox since way back when releases were big news, when the idea of add-ons was cutting edge. But I have left it and sorry, I'm scrolling to the right. I have left it and will likely never return. One of your number mentioned politics as a potential reason, but readily dismissed it. I think that would be Leo. Let's put a name to the face.
Yeah, I sure did.
That is precisely why I've left. Mozilla has come out in support of censorship and will likely begin to take an active role in such. Their abandonment of their core ideal of making the internet more open is disgraceful. Anyhow, cheers, fellas, and thanks for the podcast. Johnny Knoll. I can't argue with Johnny.
Yeah, no, I can't either. No, I got nothing.
Well, let's kind of trot it out, I guess, for those that may not know. So I think what he's talking about with the politics. So first things first, I think people that pay attention to the politics of a company, how they deal with that stuff is a smaller group than the vast majority. Because as we were talking about with privacy and security, it just goes right over most people. Because I don't care. I'm using a browser. I'm using it to get to the internet. So that's why I dismissed it. Not that there is that there are zero people that would use that as a reason to leave, but that it's a small number. So I agree.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
But do you think in this community it's a small number? Because I do feel like we're a little more plugged into who's behind the project, and because they are people that we're chatting with, they're people that we're talking to, you know. Now maybe not the CFO or CEO of Mozilla we're not chatting with, but we do. I think we do pay a little more attention to the people that are putting these things together. So I think you're right in the grand scheme. Yes.
Right.
Most people who use Firefox aren't even in our little world. So I get that, but I do think in our realm, I think that's probably a big deal.
Yeah.
Probably more than we think. More than we think. Look how bent out of shape we get when Banjaro goes on a rant, or anything when they, somebody steps out, or what was who got banned for like 75 years last month for saying something on a chat. I don't know, but it's that kind of stuff. We all get all hyped up about it. We're like, that's not right, or you good, get rid of that guy. Like, I do feel like we're a little more plugged in.
Well, yeah, and there's a lot of passion behind it too. Yeah.
Thanks, Johnny. All right, let's get on to our final email. One of my favorites here, and you'll find out why soon. Yeah. It says, former Solus user here. Third-party thing has been depreciated to be replaced by, if I remember correctly, don't quote me, by Flatpak integration with Budgie 11. Ooh. This is in development, and it is slow. Visit their Reddit for issue trackers for the update info. Love the project, but it moves way too slow for me. So I jumped to Void Linux. Big ol' heart sign after that sucker too. And finishes out by saying, Med Valiga Halsnigar. Robin Lundgren. That's my best Swedish. Let me know how I did, Robin.
Way better than my Swedish. We all decided that I should not try this.
Well, it went awry rather quickly as you were rehearsing it.
My northern New York accent doesn't lend well to Swedish.
Yeah. So
he's right. He's absolutely right on that. And we got confirmation of that from Joshua Strobl when we put out the last episode about Solus. And so he responded back to us, yep, Flatpak and Snap will largely replace third-party. Everything else that isn't supported by Flatpak and Snap will use our newer, more robust packaging system to repackage other sources such as Google Chrome. So, you're absolutely right. And I don't know if the development is slow comment was about the kernel thing, but they did fix that too. So 5.6 to 5.10. And hey, we did get a new ISO spun up as well.
Yeah. 4.2.
I tell you, right. Josh was all over that in response to us. Like that was some awesome feedback. I was really glad he took the time to address a lot of our concerns, like that. And Robin echoes them for sure.
Yep,
I agree. And like, I think almost anything that we had critical to say, Josh had a great response.
Yeah. So, Robin, I think for all of us, I would like to say tack för det meddelande, which means thank you for the message. I think in Swedish.
I think.
That's
what Google said anyway.
I'm going to say
that's what Google told
me. You
me.
did a better job than I did. Yeah.
Thank you, Robin. We appreciate the message, and thank everybody for sending in their messages. We appreciate them. We read them. Not all of them are going to make it on the show, but the ones that are pertinent, yes, let's talk about it. And this has been some really good feedback. So thanks a lot.
Yes.
We go now live to our correspondent in Red Rock Canyon for Mozilla Watch 2021. Leo, can you hear me?
I followed Mozilla way out here. I don't know why they're on the fringes at this point, but there they are. If you look to the east, you can see them. And something about super cookies, I don't know. I can't tell. It's too far.
I can't see it. There's something blocked. I can't see it.
I think
Oh no!
I can't tell. Oh God, yeah. So super cookies. Have you seen this? Super cookies. They're
Yes.
tracking you everywhere you go, all the time.
They're so
24/7.
big.
Probably.
They're so It's the ones with the chocolate chunks, though. You know, and then they put the little macadamians, and then I'm like super it's irresistible.
Yeah.
So you can only fit
Cookie
one
Monster.
of those cookies in the oven.
Only
what you're
one.
saying?
No, this is like a
Like the giant one.
yeah,
you know.
cookie cake. Yeah.
Mhm.
That's the kind of cookies you're saying that's the kind of cookies that are in my browser history?
I mean, those sound super, but I don't think so.
Oh, okay. Man.
So super cookies. These are speaking of privacy, like we were talking about earlier. Super cookies are these tracking cookies that whenever you go in and you say, delete everything from the past forever. No, these cookies don't get. They don't. They hide. They hide within other bits of the cache that you cannot easily get rid of. And Mozilla seemingly has fixed it all for us.
And Leo, we
So-
know, being the $, you're flush with cash.
I mean, yeah.
I mean,
The cache is full.
it's
I mean, I totally just bought the secondhand desktop.
it shows through your browser. That's how much money. That's how deep
Can
your
you
pockets
see my
are.
super
I can
cookie from
I
here?
can see your money, your cash in your
It's
browser.
shining.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
Mhm.
Just overflowing. I can't help it.
Mm.
So, what do you guys think? What's your take on this? Super cookies. Do y'all actually care much about tracking?
Well, yeah, yes.
I mean, I care, but
Yes.
like, I don't know how much effort I'm going to put into this, right?
I
See,
like.
that-
Yeah.
That's the beauty of this, right? You don't have to put any effort into it, and Mozilla just swats them down for you.
So I like that. I think that's great.
That's good.
Mm-hmm. Can
Who
they
do you think
fix
of the-
everything else so that I want to use the browser that blocks the super cookie?
Now, so we've been talking about this a lot, right? I mean, Firefox has been a topic for almost all of the shows, and I think they're just going for things that you don't see, and I think that's unfortunate because
Mhm.
Vivaldi is doing the exact opposite of that. They are
Mhm.
adding these user-facing features, but
And getting
Firefox-
extra cookies. Like if you go, what I just heard is if you go over to Vivaldi, one, you get to say a cool name for your browser. I think it's just like it's a fad.
It rolls right off the tongue.
It's a fad.
It's fantastic.
But they put extra super cookies. Like they got chocolate chunk, they got the M&M ones, they got the macadamia, they got some oatmeal raisin going, some cranberry white chocolate. Like they've got them all of them. Like is super cookies a problem everywhere? And now Firefox is like, we are super cookie monster. We're gonna eat them all. Or is there anybody else doing this? Is this unique?
I don't think so. Not yet. But if I had to pick one of the Chromiums to do it first, it would be Brave. Brave would do this.
Well, they're brave.
Absolutely.
They take on a project like that. Yeah, got it.
Yeah, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, the thing about it all is that these super cookies get embedded into just weird stuff, like into the HSTS flags, the ones that make sure that your that all your HTTPS stuff is on the up and up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just weird little tracking like that. And this is the thing that Firefox is preventing. So I hope other browsers take this on. I mean, I think only the companies that make a lot of money tracking you online are the ones that are really doubling down on this kind of stuff. But it's just good to see. It's finally good to see something that Firefox is doing that not everybody else has already done about 7 ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do like it, and I applaud the efforts. And I don't even want to make it like a backhanded comment. Like I was kidding earlier. Can they fix all the other stuff? I mean, I'm serious. Like this is
it's a good reason to use it.
Yeah, this is a good reason, especially if they're kind of leading the way. Like I'm to be honest, like I didn't hear about super cookies before this conversation. I'm like, what? Like we already had cookies. Now we got super. Like what is like next is like Mega Brownie Crunch something. Like what are they going to track us? Yeah, next is it's not even going to be like hidden. Next is just going to be a giant red flashing light on your browser that's like, we're looking at you.
Yeah,
like it's just
course. Well, that's your webcam. That's why you put the little thing over your webcam.
That's why we got to block the webcam.
It's just going to regurgitate your keystrokes right there on the
Right,
screen.
right.
That's it.
It's just the keylogger. Everything's built right in, so they just
Yeah,
know.
you don't got to push the eyeball to show you your password anymore. It's just like
Right.
it just scrolls across the screen. It's like,
Right.
are you sure this is your password? Wait
Yep.
a minute.
That's not the one you typed in last time.
Yeah.
Use this one.
Yeah, Google's going to be
Change
like,
it
yep, hey, we too are blocking super cookies because we just invented ultra cookies. So
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
you know,
Okay. Yeah.
glad to see it. Good on them. I hope they pair it with some more user-facing niceties that make people want
Joe,
to
that's
use
not
their
gonna
browser.
happen. You know why?
Yeah, because
the
here's
law
the
of
thing.
equivalent exchange. If you get something, you lose something.
I know.
Ah.
So what did we
You
lose?
had to go there. You had to go there.
I had to.
It's something I use all the time. That's what we're gonna lose.
Not in Firefox, you don't.
I don't use Firefox.
Not anymore.
No, and I never did. I never did.
I do have a couple that I use in Chrome that just make it nice. But
So we're talking about progressive web apps, PWAs.
Mhm.
That's what we're losing. And it was kind of a beta feature in Firefox anyway, and it had some woes, I guess. So yeah, they decided to drop development on that. I don't know. Yeah, it's sad.
Do you think are there a lot of people using PWAs? You think?
Yes.
This is a conversation that Dan and I were having as well. And Dan and I, Joe, did you know that Firefox had the ability to do progressive web apps where you just pop them out and use them as an app instead of in the browser or whatever?
I figured they did because you can do it in Chrome and Edge. I don't know if you can do it in Edge. I know you can do it in Chrome because I do it in
you can.
Chrome, but it's not built
All
into the.
Chromium.
Yeah. I mean, so I figured they could. I would have been disappointed if they couldn't. But again, I only use like one, and that's it. So, and I'm probably a geek, right? So there's
that's
like
true.
I mean, is it worth? So if it's something they have to support, I guess, is it worth throwing money at and effort at? If it's not something they have metrics, right? I'm sure they can tell who's doing what, and on some level, maybe they looked at it and they're like, hey, guess what? Leo's the only guy using WPAs with Firefox. How about we don't dedicate 5 engineers to that next year? Let's just.
I mean, to be honest, I think that was exactly the conversation where it's very few people are using it. People obviously use it. There are people that are passionate about them, but yeah, I think that was it. It was a conversation that it's such a small minority. Let's dedicate our work to super cookies instead.
Right.
I guess, but I think it is something that is probably engineered towards like an enterprise environment. So this surprises me that you don't use this at work, Joe.
I mean, I do, but I don't use
Okay.
it a lot because now maybe I should. Yes. Go ahead. Yeah.
Well, from a support standpoint, like maybe not so much you, but anybody that you're helping to support, it gives them a similar experience all the time.
Yeah.
And so they can go to the start menu or whatever you want to call it and click on the app and boom, it loads up, and they don't have to worry about loading the web browser and finding the bookmark and searching, all the things.
I fixed all that,
It's
Dan.
just right there.
I fixed all that. You know why? When they launch their web browser, all their stuff preloads.
And so it takes
No,
30 minutes.
it doesn't, because
or
I
what?
keep modern machines in front of my people.
Oh, okay.
Ding.
Well,
I'm
on
just
top of that, I think a lot of those tabs don't even load until you open up the tab.
Exactly,
They
until you hit them.
probably don't.
So and really, I mean, we use now. Granted, I had to bump everybody up to 16 gigs of RAM because 8 was just we were hitting it because we live in the browser these days. We have really they're running they're running they're running 2 desktop applications to 15 tabs. You know what I mean? So yeah, I get it. But yeah, I've simplified. Instead of having to open 15 applications, which is basically what a progressive web app is, they open their browser and all their stuff loads for them. And it's just there. So they're used to tab, moving through tabs and that. But that's probably why. And we went progressively. We started out with all desktop apps, and then we went to like, oh, well, this is in the cloud now. Okay, now this is in the cloud over the course of the last 15 years, and
sure.
I think it's slowly happened. But that's probably why. But now that you think about it, like, Yeah, I'm surprised I'm not using them more.
Yeah, no. So instead of all those tabs, I mean, some people do like the independent applications. So, even still, so that's the biggest use case that I can think of that you would want to use these. So, and enterprise seems like it.
Yeah. I do like that. That's why I have my webmail in it. Because I hate losing my email in 50 tabs. And I do. I'm like, gosh, where is it? Oh, and then I've opened 4 inboxes in there. So the one I need for my office. So, or I get on my profile and I'll have opened several sets of tabs. And then I'm like, which set of tabs has my email in it? So I got to go. So this way I just have my email app kind of pinned in the corner of my, my desktop. So it's
perfect example.
It's good.
So what you're saying is your folks could probably get by with a Chromebook.
No.
A 16 gig of RAM Chromebook.
No. I still have 2 desktop applications that only run on Windows.
Gotcha.
Okay. So once those convert over, it's Chromebooks all the way down, huh?
No. No, because for the price of a Chromebook, I can pretty much build and maintain a desktop, I think, these days.
That's true.
Of what they need. And, for the cost, I think I've got these little micro mini ITXs builds that are like $500 when computers aren't nuts. Like right now, it's a little more challenging to keep that under $500.
I still want a 5800X, and I just can't
you ain't gonna get one. You're not gonna get one.
Yeah, it's not available. Unobtainium.
You'll get that processor long before you get a video card, though. I promise you that.
Hey, I don't need a video card. If I can get that processor, by the time I get that processor, everything will have been ironed out. All of the issues, I'll have BIOS updates to do, and everything will just be smooth sailing, right?
Like my experience. Like my experience was so smooth.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
all you had to do is update the BIOS.
Yeah. If I could have bought you one, I would have. But they were one. I was allowed to buy one processor and one video card, and
I'm okay with waiting. I'm already going to wait for the Mac.
I've been back to that store like 3 or 4 times, and it's just dust like on the shelves.
Just last week, I saw somebody selling the 2700X, which is 3 generations old now.
Oh,
but like for the same price that they're advertising for the 58.
I have a buddy who's just getting into PC building. Like he's never built one before, and now I know. But the poor guy, he sent me a screenshot of a 5600 video card.
Okay.
And it was $575.
No.
And I said, "Don't you dare! Don't you dare buy
he was
that!"
Ready to lay down the cash. For that.
Because he doesn't know. He's never built a thing, and I kept telling him, I go, no. That's more than I paid for my 5700 XT, and that's day one. That's what I mean. Like that's a 5600 XT. And I'm like,
and you were fighting Bitcoin miners and crypto miners,
right? That's more than I paid for the 6800. Like that's. No, I go, no, don't do it. Don't. He's like, but then I can't build a computer. I go, you will. It's just not the one you want right now. Like, let's just wait.
Patience.
Here, I'll loan. I'll take a card out of my mining rigs and loan you one for a while, because this is not. Don't do it. That's a waste. It's such a waste.
Oh man.
That card should be $300, $325. I don't know. Didn't you get your? No, you got a 5600, didn't you, for one of the kids?
I bought the kids 5500s.
Or 55. Okay, yeah.
And
they were like 2 something, right?
2 something.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
I don't remember.
Yeah. Anyways, I was so frustrated.
No, don't do that.
Yeah. Well, to wrap up the Mozilla Watch, PWAs are dead, right? I actually didn't know any of this was going on. You know why?
Because you don't use Firefox anymore.
Because in Linux Mint, I have this thing called the Web App Manager that does all this for me. So, I mean, it all just went right over my head. I'm like, because when this whole conversation started, back when we were talking about PWAs and Chromium in general, I was like, what's a PWA? I don't know what this is. What is that? And then as it's described to me, I'm like, oh, yeah, no, I do this. I totally do this. And I can do it with any browser I want. GNOME Web included. So, yeah. And my only 2 are one for Plex and one for Nextcloud. As
those are good ones.
Yeah. So I hope that if you're on Firefox and you're really devastated by this change in Firefox 85, I don't think we said it the entire time. Firefox 85 is where all these changes are coming. If you're devastated by this, I hope the web app manager gets flat-packed up real fast, because they did that with Hypnotics. So I'm just hoping web app manager gets flat-packed as well, and you can still take advantage of Mozilla PWAs. So I think that's still, I don't know. It's a workaround, but it'll get the job done. Joe, what are you thinking? What?
I don't know. I don't know what I'm thinking.
Okay.
It's fine. Yeah.
I was ready to go toe-to-toe.
I know. Hey, I hope, good for you, Mint. That's good. Good for you. Great.
That's
Thanks
right.
for sharing with the community, Mint. So
Hey,
loving, so giving.
They're not stopping anybody
I didn't say
from having anything.
It's all right. It's all right. I wish they'd work a little more on the website. Leave the PWAs alone.
Okay, I'll agree with the website.
Yeah, you got that one.
I got to get
Still burns the eyes.
I got to get
Still burns the
my
eyes.
monthly dig in. Sorry. Well, are we everybody all synced up with this?
Yeah, for
It's
some
time for our
reason.
new segment. The new segment.
Oh yeah. Well, our new segment entitled "Doot, doot, 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 Chrome Watch 2021." I can't even say it. It's so stupid.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, you know who are not to hire to name segments. It's just not us.
Yes.
No.
Yeah. But if you want to get somebody who's going to laugh about things they're doing and act like fools, sign us up. We're here.
We're you guys.
We're available. So Chrome is also having a moment. Chromium, Google having a moment as far as syncing going. So in the famous lines of a show that we cannot name because we'll get copyright, that involves people living in New York City, no sync for you. Why no sync? What's going on with the sync?
Google said they're going to take their toys and go home. That's what they said.
Sounds like Google.
No,
And so they even, like, at first we were like, well, does this impact Chromium? And we're like, nah, I can't, right?
right, because in the
kind
initial
of
thing, it was
Google's,
like,
right?
yeah. So in the initial post, they were like, this is a third-party Chromium thing. And I'm like, well, they didn't call out Chromium. They just said third-party Chromium. So they're talking about Brave and Vivaldi and Opera and all these other ones.
And Chromium.
But not Chromium.
Chromium included, though, apparently.
Yeah. So they clarified. They came back and they clarified in the
They
Google
needed to.
Chrome API bug thingy, whatever their Bugzilla thing is called. And they clarified and they were like, nope, Chromium is included in all of this. So I didn't think anybody else was really using it, but Chromium does. When you sign into Google stuff, you get your little picture and everything starts syncing up and you get history and all that stuff. Well, not anymore. Well, soon in March 14, March 15, something like that.
Just don't update. Just don't update.
Soonish.
Oh, wait,
Yeah.
so you're saying just get on Debian?
Just get on Debian.
Just get on Debian and
Look,
you'll have the old Chromium and everything.
If you get on the latest Debian, you'll be on packages from 2014 Chrome anyway, so it's fine.
Give or take.
Nah.
I'll tell you, like, so Debian is even discussing, I mean, they're getting ready for Bullseye, right? The next release. And there's discussion on, do we keep Chromium? Do we drop Chromium? Because it's a lot of work. And, I think this probably plays a part.
It's definitely part of the discussion.
Feature coming out and it's not the same. It's not compatible. I mean, all those things, right? So, just it hurts. It hurts.
So,
well, not just that. Fedora had that same exact conversation. We had Tom Calloway on Twitter talk about, it wasn't anything concrete, but it was, do we even bother? I mean, Chromium's big thing was that it was basically Chrome without being Chrome, and you get the sync and everything else. So why do we want to put all that effort into it? So, long story short, nothing's going to happen with it. It's going to still be packaged, but I mean, the question's out there. It is now a real question that is rippling through all of the distros and whether or not they want to put the work in.
So is that the killer feature of Chromium?
It's got to be. It's
one of them.
It's got to be, because if you otherwise, why wouldn't you just use Brave or Vivaldi or Opera or some other browser that is on the same base, has way more features, and works.
Well, and some of those other browsers, they have their own sync system anyway, so it doesn't
Right.
matter. I mean, they don't care. Like,
Right.
I think Brave is one of them, right? They have
Brave is
their
one,
own.
Vivaldi is one, Opera is one. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Edge is one. Edge is one as well.
Edge, yeah, is if nobody, so if they're not going to package it, which I know you said they didn't decide not to, right? So they're still planning on having it.
They're just thinking about it.
But that
right?
almost makes you think like, should it exist anymore? Like, who's using it? If that was the feature, like the basically getting all the Google gobbledygook, but not being the Google gobbledygook, so to speak, or being under their fingers
until you sign in.
Well, yeah, I mean that's the thing.
No.
But do those people care? If that's the majority of people using it,
It's easy.
why they're just they've been installing it because it was in the repo. Now they're just gonna go to Chrome's website, click install, and be done, right? Maybe that's why they're asking.
All of the Chromium-based browsers are like that now. Unless you want Chromium itself, which is likely in your repo, you do have to go and take extra steps and go install your browser or whatever. Otherwise, what are you going to use? Firefox? And we've already all decided that is not the case.
Right. So I'm going to help everybody
Firefox
out.
to get your own browser. That's
solve
what you
all
use.
your problems.
Firefox has become Internet Explorer. How it pains me to say that.
Go install this new browser from this little company. It's called Edge. You'll be happy. It'll run good.
Underground company. No one's heard of him.
It's new. Soft Micro, I think, something like that. It's
something like that.
Something.
Yeah.
SoftBank, I don't know, something. Yeah. So just do yourself a favor.
Well, so I want to put the question out now. So before we asked about Firefox and what kept you there and what scared you away and all that kind of thing, but now I want to know about Chromium. Were you using Chromium? I will say, actually, I do use Chromium to do anything Mintcast related. I do Chromium. It's all in that browser, and I mean, it's packaged up for me. I have it. It's fine. I don't care. It's just a browser, and I'm not worried about security, privacy, or things like that in that browser. So it's all that. So I do use it, but it's certainly not a daily driver. I log into it once every week or so to check on things, and that's about it. But for everything else, it's some other browser, mostly Firefox, a lot of Brave, and maybe a touch of Edge, but not Chromium. So do you use Chromium? If you're the one that is using Chromium for 99% of your stuff, why?
Yeah, tell us about it.
Why? Yeah,
I'd love to hear.
I want to know.
Absolutely.
What's
it would be good to know.
Chromium feature?
Yeah. What are we missing? Tell us. Sell me on it. I'll switch back.
Hey, you're missing
It's got a pretty little blue icon down there.
Yeah.
Hey, that's it, right? It looks like Chrome, but it's almost not.
So does the little blue E. Edge.
Oh, it's true.
Yeah.
Except your little blue E has a dev thing on it, and that scares people.
It does.
It's got some green in it.
It doesn't look. That doesn't scare anybody in the Linux community away. That tracks them. Yeah. They put that there as a badge. Oh, get this developer. Get it.
I get it right from Git.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah. Anyways, let us know. Chromium. If it's your deal, we want to know about it. Thanks.
Absolutely.
House to the keep of the ing.
Housekeeping.
I'm keeping your house. You had your house, but now I have your house. I'm keeping your house.
Please give me back my house. I'm homeless. I need some house.
I'll give you fluffy pillows.
No, it's too scary. Please keep your pillows.
I will give your house back.
Keep your pillows. I just need my roof and a shed. Maybe an electrical outlet, a Cat 5 cable. Please. And a phone.
Fiber to the shed.
Fiber to the shed. I'll be happy with a she shed with a skylight.
Oh, no.
Oh, boy. We digress.
A lot.
The podcast community has some fantastic members, and we want to make sure to highlight that. Our podcast showcase has Going Linux. Join Larry and Bill as they deliver some great content that will help the new users as well as experienced ones. Now, I listened to the last episode, and they talked about audio streaming services that were available on Linux. And
Napster. It was Napster.
They talked about Napster, but I thought it was really good. It was informative. I think it was good to know where some of these streaming services stand, and how compatible they are with Linux, whether they've got a native app or you got to use the web browser. So I don't know. This is just a prime example of, great Linux podcast, I think.
Well, Spotify, right? Because now they're going to listen to you and then suggest things to you. So they hear you say something about Boombathon, and then they're like, "Hey, you want that Boombathon playlist? How about right here, right now?
Yeah. Boombathon? What is
Hey,
Boombathon?
just look it up. Just look it up.
I'm not doing it.
No.
I'm gonna get a major.
suggestions.
I'm gonna get a major super cookie from that. I'm not looking up any
You're gonna
Boombathon.
get 2 super cookies from that one, man.
So it's
But
Larry and Bill, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And it
Larry and
sparked up a
Bill.
whole conversation about sailing the 7 seas and Napster and the OG days and Lark, and oh man, it was so good. Those were good times.
So true story. The first Linux podcast I ever found was theirs. Was Going Linux. That's
Nice.
It's how I found all the others, because actually, kind of like we do, they'll shout out other podcasts out there, and I was like, oh, let me go check this one out. Let me go check this one. But I had Googled when I first was getting into Linux, and I was trying to find stuff and wanted to listen to podcasts about it, and I couldn't find anything that would come up. And then theirs popped up first. I'm like, all right, let me try it out. And yeah.
So
they've been
what
doing
you're
it a while.
saying is, Larry and Bill, if you're listening, you're the entire reason that Joe is where he is.
Yeah, so
Wow,
we're
you
going
made
to
Joe the man he is.
blame Larry and Bill. Hashtag blame.
Hey!
Blame Larry and Bill.
Oh,
You're gonna wrap him in all that.
Yeah.
no,
Keep
it's
up.
great stuff.
Yeah. Keep up the good
I
work.
think it's good. Yeah, and like Joe figured out, it's great for the new user, and that'll
Yeah.
help you get on track.
Yeah.
All right, feel free to send your emails to contact@linuxuserspace.show, and we can have a discussion about them on the show. We love getting the feedback, and we love having the episodes about them, so please do. We also appreciate all of our sponsors on Patreon, and if you would like to join them in supporting the show, head on over to patreon.com/linuxuserspace.
Joe gave me $2 in my name, and I'm just curious if we need to make that 3 or not.
Yeah, maybe 4.
Yeah.
It depends. You got to go to patreon.com/linuxuserspace.
Yeah. Right now, it's about an eighth of a $sign. So if anybody, alms for the poor, if anybody out there is interested in helping Leo keep a roof over his head, this isn't the reason why. He's got a great job, and that's fine. But
No, I just need a $3 sign.
yeah, it just needs a third
that's
dollar
really
sign.
it.
So hook him up with a $sign. Dollar.
Yeah, we got to give him the monies. Please follow us on Twitter @LinuxUserspace to get all the latest announcements for this show and highlights for things that impact your user space. We also have our growing Telegram group. Please join us at linuxuserspace.show/Telegram to continue on over there. Lastly, don't forget to rate this podcast on iTunes or your favorite podcast application, and like, comment, and subscribe on YouTube, where you can get video.
Yes, we're like big bobbleheads now.
Oh man.
Yeah, talking heads.
See, this is why you want to check out Housekeeping, because we don't do a lot of movement during the show except for when we're talking, and then now this is it, doing the bobblehead. This is what you pay for.
Yeah, this is it. This is what the patrons pay for.
Oh, thanks, patrons. We
You can always get
yeah.
more information at our website, linuxuserspace.show.
This is App Rescue, where we focus on the Zilla. Wait, is that right? Something
That works
like
for me.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah,
So
all right.
let's focus on something.
Rescuezilla. Rescuezilla. Do you know what a Cronus True Image Backup Image Rescue Image is? Something like that, I think. Macrium Reflect.
It's a sentence with a lot of images in it.
It is. Oh, I mean, I don't know. $60. It's kind of expensive. That's expensive to me.
Yeah, it's expensive.
Right? Dropping $60 on something.
Well,
But
tell
I
me
mean-
about it, Leo. How much is Rescuezilla?
It is $0.00, Joe.
But what if I want to use it for 6 months?
It's 4 easy payments of $0.00, Joe.
Wow. What if I want to burn it to a USB and use it over and over and over again?
That'll be $5.
Ah, I'm brown.
I'm just kidding. It's $0.00, Joe.
Unbelievable, Leo.
Unbelievable value, Joe. Unbelievable. I can't believe it. So Rescuezilla, if you've ever used something like a Cronus True Image or Macrium Reflect or EasyOS to do backup, those things, right? What do? They image your drive and they put it to a file, or they image your drive and put it to another drive. That's what Rescuezilla is. So it is a graphical front end, bootable. So it's got some rescue bits in it, but it's really just meant to boot up into it. And it's going to use part clone and pigs. Okay, this is my favorite thing in the whole world. It's fantastic. So it's gzip, right? PIGZ.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So it is gzip, but multi-threaded. So if you've ever done like a tar GZ, whatever, you did the whole thing, right? You notice it only pegs one core and then you have to wait forever. Yeah. Pigs is multi-threaded. So it'll use the full capacity of your CPU to compress all of your things. And I just got done a couple of days ago getting an image of the Microsoft. Did I talk about this in the show? I don't even remember. I was talking to you about it, Dan.
No, it was before the show.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So that's the deal, right? I had this Windows partition, but I'm not going to use it. But I feel like, I'll hang on to it. No big deal. So I used Rescuezilla, booted right up. I took an image of the disk, put it on a 2 terabyte drive. It took, and we're talking a 30 gig image. It took 5 minutes. I've got a screenshot to prove it. It took 5 minutes to image the entire thing. Granted, it came from an SSD, but it wrote to a USB spinning disk. So, I mean, we're talking 100 megabytes a second or whatever, right?
That's really quick.
So the compression is fantastic. gzip is pretty good. Compresses all your stuff up, gives you it actually gives you a few files, and that's it. You just hang on to that little folder, and it'll take care of you. The coolest thing is that, let's say you're using a FAT32 drive. I don't know why you would do this. I don't know.
Because it's supported in Linux. That's why. Yeah, it's in the kernel now.
I use exFAT myself because
exFAT is probably a little better. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But let's say you got a FAT32 drive and that's what you're using. No problem. Rescuezilla part clone breaks up these files into 4 gig pieces. So it'll always work on FAT32. So you don't even have to worry. Like what format is my hard? It doesn't even matter. Doesn't matter. Just boot it up and use it. Don't even think about it. It'll work.
Is somebody out there? Please write us. If you're using FAT32 on a drive that you're going to clone something to, please write. Please write your use case.
What operating system is small enough to fit on a 4 gig anything?
Please let us know. This would be wonderful.
Okay, and someone's going to come up in here and tell us Raspberry Pi, and I'm going to be like, yeah, no, you're right.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, other than Raspberry Pi.
Yeah. So here's a cool thing, and you're what you're thinking. You're saying, Leo, I use clones need Rescuezilla. And you know what? I don't even know that Clonezilla would be compatible. Well, you're wrong. It would be compatible. It is compatible. Rescuezilla handles anything that comes out of Clonezilla, brings it in. Oh, you use funky options? It don't matter. Rescuezilla can handle that too. So here's the one thing that they're working on a couple of things. One of the things that they are working on is Redo Rescue. They have their own format. All right, what is Redo Rescue? I don't know. So Redo Rescue about 8 years ago, just poof, off the internet. Nobody knows where the dev went. And then about 6 months ago, the dev was like, hey guys, I'm still alive and I'm going to continue working on Redo Rescue, right?
Yay!
So in the middle there, Rescuezilla was like, where did Redo go? And so they forked it, and that's Rescuezilla. Now they're 2 totally separate branches. Redo Rescue is a thing. Rescuezilla is a thing. Rescuezilla is based on Ubuntu. Redo Rescue is based on Debian. So they're diverging. They have different feature sets and stuff, but that's the idea. Rescuezilla is what I want to focus on the app today.
Yeah.
And that's really it, man. It will back up your stuff. It will put it in a folder, and that's it. There's also a backup browser. It's in beta, but you can go into your backups and pick out 1 or 2 files that you need, right? Because I mean, how many of us have not accidentally nuked the wrong hard drive, Joe? I don't know. I have no idea, Joe. Who did
me neither.
That,
I mean,
I don't know.
Obviously, you can tell by looking at my camera. My stuff's always running great. So I don't know who would do
on
that.
this show.
Nah,
nobody, Joe.
Nobody would blow out drives. Nope.
On this show, no, Joe.
No. Hey, so quick question. Most important question I got. Most
The answer is
important
probably
question.
no.
It's an ISO.
Yes.
Does it work with Ventoy?
You know it.
Oh, man.
That is how I booted into it to get my Windows
Sold.
image.
Sold.
Yes.
Sold.
So, yep, I'm absolutely 100% on board with Rescuezilla now. So,
Nice.
yeah, go use it. You need an image of something, go do it. There's one last feature that I want to tell you about, and that is the device-to-device thing. It's not ready yet. So if you've got two drives into a computer, and you just want to copy one to the other, not yet. But you can take an image of a drive and store that on a secondary drive, and then just restore that image to the new drive. So there's a way to do it. It's not one-to-one just yet. It's coming. It's in the works. But sit tight. It'll be here.
All right. Well, that's cool.
Yeah. Excited.
Go put that on your Ventoy stick. Get it ready for the one time you need it, and it'll be there.
I'm gonna wait till we're done recording to go download it, but yeah, I think that's gonna happen.
I'm doing it now. Right now.
So good. So worth it.
Yeah. I need to find a way to use my Ease US to do backups, because you use it and then you pay for that software. And then if you want to restore them, you got to pay for like another software. And then if you want to look at it, you got to pay for another software. And then if you want to get rid of the first software, you got to pay for the cleaner software.
Boy.
What a racket. Remember when they were free?
I do actually. I taught some classes using that one because it was free. I use Macrium now for the same purpose.
Yeah, you send a new user to Ease US and they'll come out like $2,000 deep buying software to make a backup in a clone. Yeah.
Isn't that the point, right? It's like, I have about 8 backups. Well, can you use them? No,
Nope.
but I have the backups.
Right.
Yeah.
They look nice on a drive.
It's kind of like that. Actually, kind of reminds me of the crypto thing, the crypto ransomware or whatever. Hey, you have your data, but you can't use your data.
Right.
Yeah, you can't see it.
Coming up next time, we'll be talking about the distro of the month for February, PCLinuxOS, and the revolutionary new fangled Trinity desktop environment. Or the nostalgia walk down memory lane Trinity desktop environment.
Yeah, it's so new it's old. What is old is new again.
Yeah. We've been having fun this month. We hope you've been joining us with it. And also, if you're not into TDE, you've got KDE, which they've got Mate, and what was the other one? BusyBox.
Well, OpenBox. BusyBox. Let's not go to BusyBox. BusyBox is bad.
OpenBox.
The reason I don't know the answer to that question is because we were talking about TDE for a little bit, and there are a couple of things that it doesn't do. So did we agree that we're going to main TDE, but we're going to off to the side?
You mean we're going to use Plasma like I've been using for the last 2 weeks?
I mean, yeah.
I did install Plasma as well, but
Yes.
I got TDE as well.
I've got it.
I've got it both. Yeah, I'm doing both.
I've been maining TDE, and it's brought so much nostalgia back. Oh my God, that alien cityscape wallpaper, I can't get enough of it. It's my favorite. In 2002, that's the wallpaper that I put on on my Slackware machine. Oh, memory lane, it just doesn't do it justice.
No joke. I spent a solid 2 hours. It was 2 episodes of the program that I'm supposed to be watching with my wife while I was buried in my computer, just digging through the menus and just looking at stuff and just the nostalgia of it all. Like, it just took me kind of back to a different time. So I really enjoyed just picking through it. And once I could see it on my 4K monitor, once I got to where I could see it, I enjoyed picking through it. So yeah, a lot of fun.
Cool.
Well, we want to thank everybody. We hope you've enjoyed the show. Thank you all for listening and for your support. Please follow along as we continue to test PCLinuxOS. Get in there, try it out, expand your knowledge, see what you can break, and then fix again. It's so much fun.
Big brain time.
Big brain time.
Big brain, yeah.
Where can we find you fine folks?
You can find me at Leo Chavez on Twitter.
You can find me at KC2BEZ.
And you can find me at Jojo_Vet. Thanks. We'll see you soon in the Linux user space.